Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let's start somewhere in the future. We'll start with a battlefield. It's been arduous. It's been difficult. Bodies lay there. There are dead hybrid commanders. There's smoke rising in the distance. And there is nothing but the sound of blasters, along with a massive portal, open, letting the invasion fleet come through. And then there's a massive explosion, as one creature does stand there, an entity with boundless power. And currently, it sits there still, it staring up at the invading fleet. Alien X. It is locked in one simple thing, an argument. And Izuku is yelling at the two, Bellicus and Serena, about what's happening, about exactly what this battle entails for the universe. And while this is all happening, there is the entity outside of Alien X, the one flying overhead and trying to protect the planet. As currently it would bring its hands up and begin to emit a purple glow, before it has to go to attack with ruthless efficiency. Now, with that being said, let's go over what happened in the last part. We had Deku. Deku was being hunted by a bounty hunter. It was after the Omnitrix, and Izuku, he lost his hand after the Omnitrix timed out, and the bounty hunter was able to attack him. He was brought to the Null Void, where he reunited with the Plumber's helpers, along with found out that his grandfather was alive. He then tried to help his grandfather stop Dr. Animo from getting back to Earth and using the Null Guardians to take over the planet. And while this was all happening, Deku's hand encountered Kendo at a park, where she was going about her regular exercises. And Kendo took Deku's hand back to the group, where Bakugo, he's seen something like this before, a dimensional distortion. He knew how to fix it, though it definitely would take some time. And thanks to Kendo, Mina, Bakugo, and Kai working together, they not only took down the bounty hunter, they were able to get Deku back, along with the fact the Plumber's helpers and Ken came back from the Null Void. Now, with that being said, let's pick up with Izuku, or a variant of him, about a few days before. We currently have Rada's get up. Him going to think about a few things. Deku climbing out of bed and going to head downstairs. As Ken, he does sit there at the coffee table. Him with a cup and turning to see Izuku. As Deku pours a cup and tries to talk to his grandfather, who does sit there with his badge. And the man will go to look at Izuku, asking him exactly about all the information they have. Not very much, Grandpa. It's a bit limited. We're trying to do the best we can, but our badges are already jailbroken, if that's your next question. We remain mostly isolated and off their networks. Good. I've already hacked through mine. It's been interesting to see, though. The database definitely does have a lot of information, but none of it's been updated. I'm assuming my codes still work. If they took over before I died, then that means they didn't wipe my clearance. You think so? I'm pretty sure, Zuko. Listen, they don't know very much about how plumbers operate, but they're trying to maintain normal operations on Earth. Yeah, but at the same time, whenever Luma was here, they didn't hail her vessel. Exactly. You brought that up to me. It means that they're just looking the part. They're not doing anything. They're not patrolling, and they're not helping Earth in the slightest. Has alien activity been on the rise? A little bit, but we've mainly been trying to handle that. I see. Then I have a plan. Do you have one of those masks that the DNA aliens use? Uh, I think Bakugo has one, but it might also be on Kai's ship. Okay. I'm gonna need it. It'll be useful to me. I need to go directly to HQ and look at some information. Deep dive, see what they may have. See exactly if I can get some questions answered. Okay, I can get that for you later, Grandpa. But are you sure you don't want to just relax for a second? You were in the null void for a pretty long time, weren't you? I should be fine, Izuku. Besides, active body, active mind. If I sit down and relax, I just will keep thinking about the invasion. I can take a second after this is all done. Besides, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Right, Grandpa. Listen, I can get in contact with David, Melissa, see if they can possibly help you out. I mean, see if David knows anything. He's still, I want to say, recovering a bit after what happened. You told me. Let me contact them on my own. See if I can handle things there. For right now, you just distract everybody. How can I do that? Easy. Target sites for DNA aliens, or hybrids. See if you can find anything high profile. Handle things there. Deku, understanding. And currently, he doesn't hear sound. Him bring up the Omnitrix and looking at it, as he would bring his hand down and begin to mess with the dial, before Mina's voice can be heard, expressing to Izuku that right now they have a situation. Last night, they said this thing crash landed outside of town. They thought it to be a satellite, but she looked into it a bit, and no more information was published. Currently, Deku turning to his grandfather, and the man, he does just a good nod his head. Deku telling Mina, send him the coordinates. He'll meet her out there right now. Currently, him turning back, going to grab his coffee and begin to down it, before turning to his grandfather, telling him to be safe, old timer. And the man is going to bring up his mug. Currently, Deku makes his way out the back door and transforming into Jet Ray, as he has a takeoff at high speeds. Now, there actually is outside of town. Deku follows the coordinates and does come to fly down. Him looking at the area and looking around. Nope, that's not some sort of down satellite. It's too big, plus that trail out in the woods. That's definitely a ship. Though, looks familiar. Must be a plumber design. Currently Deku going to land, hearing a sound, and going to turn, as Helen does come running up, talking about it. She's already inspected the area, though there's nothing here. There's no one here. People have already sectioned off the area, talked about it potentially being dangerous. Reports came in saying it could potentially explode, but it's a ship. They're all lies. Must be the aliens trying to cover it up. Deku asking if anyone's gone inside. No. We do think it could be unstable. That is a certainty. Though there's no detection of leaks, so the core might be intact. Slow down, Helen, slow down. Sorry. Just worried is all. Do you think that they did this? It could be possible. Deku bring his hand up, tapping on the Omnitrix and going to turn directly into Big Chill. And right now, he has a face to the hole. Him bringing his hands up and looking around. And this place is... Yeah, no. It's definitely been blaster attacks the way the outside is, the damage. Did shields hold up? No, they. But some of the burns in the outer hull. Deku flying into a room, seeing the control console for the ship, and not seeing anyone here. And the ship, it is still somewhat bugging out a bit. Power is flickering on and off. And that is Deku's main concern. Makes his way over to the controls and seeing green blood laying on them. Him turning his head and seeing a few other things. Before bringing his hand up and tapping on the Omnitrix, telling it, voice command, scan. It began to do so. Deku turning his body and trying to scan the entire area, as the Omnitrix was going to tell him. Current DNA samples detected. 2 different alien life forms. One sample, unknown. However, one other sample has been detected to be an alien DNA. Okay. Not good. Deku hearing a sound, and bring his hand down, grabbing it down into his plumber badge, pulling it up, and going to hold it out, hearing it beginning to beep. Okay, that's new. Deku pressing onto it, and nothing begins to happen. Currently him turning his head and moving through the ship, making his way back over to the consoles, and it does begin to continue beeping. Deku making his way right to the consoles and setting it down. And it's still... Okay, there's gotta be something here then. Deku trying to access the ship and see what's going on. Him finding that the computer has been smashed. Though he does think that he can reset the wires, find an alternate route to power this thing on. Him going to bend down and bring his hands up. However, he is going to find a plumber badge under the consoles. Him bringing his hand out and grabbing onto it, pulling it off, and going to press onto it. It beginning to play a message that was recorded, presumably by the pilot. And it does go to begin. If you're hearing this, then that means I survived re-entry. Listen, there's not much time. They know. We know. Listen, my name is... It's not important. I'm a plumber. Whoever is hearing this, I can only hope you found me. Or, well, there's no need for the message in the first place. I'm currently marooned on Earth. I'm letting out a distress signal, but I fear Earth might have already been taken over. The invasion, they've already destroyed. It's... Listen, I'm... Currently a sound being heard. Before the person could express. They don't have very much time, but they need to know. The invasion is beginning. There are already parts of the universe where plumber forces have encountered the hybrids. And the war has already started. They need help from Earth. And additional forces are on their way. They are aware the Omnitrix is a top-level priority. And Deku, you're gonna hear a sound. Currently, it being the sound of a blaster going off. And right now Deku turns his head, looking towards the hallway and seeing the scorch marks on the wall, understanding where things do begin to add up. And Deku does begin to paint a scene in his mind. The man sitting here at the console with his gun, or him turning his head, seeing the puddle of blood on the ground, laying there. He was already wounded. Aliens came aboard the vessel after it was in space, so he must have traveled far. And this does go through his mind. Him making his way out of the ship and trying to express to Bakugo and the group about what happens. him seeing that they pulled up and were already trying to figure out what to do with the ship. Though Deku tries to tell them, the best thing that they can do right now is leave it. The aliens already have it sectioned off. If they need to, then Bakugo can work his magic. That or Kai could use her ship and haul it to Bakugo's hangar, though that could be more hazardous right now. Come on. Tech like this doesn't just fall into your lap like this. You really saying you don't want me to have it, Izuku? Could be useful. I mean, hey. Bakugo, not right now. Alright, ruin my fun. What'd you find? Some information. Though it's not very good. Deku holding up the badge. Him pressing a button as an additional message does begin to play. And this one isn't the one that Deku just heard. As right now, it does express. If they are hearing this, then that does mean their communications have finally been able to breach through the shield of Earth. This does mean that the badge and or communicator currently listening to them is working fine. They've been trying to get a message through to Earth for some time. They believe that the hybrids are going to invade their planet. It is in grave danger. They need them to send out a message at the orbital station circulating their planet. Once they have that relay operational again, they can adequately figure out how to help their planet. The plumbers have been compromised, and they need to take down the forces currently hiding in their ranks. This message is a top priority. Earth is in danger. This is a high-level threat priority. A full-scale invasion of their planet could be imminent. And the message does get start over. And Deku, he does look at that a bit confused. And everyone, they do stare at that. As Kai does get a turn. Her talking about what's going to be happening. Beginning to make her way over to her ship. And everyone, they do climb aboard. And currently Deku, as he's walking up the ramp, there actually is Kendo, who does try to ask exactly if they're going to be doing anything crazier now. Hey, I didn't know you were aboard. Hey, yeah, sorry. You guys say you're going to be investigating a ship. I don't really know how to respond to that. Right, no. Sorry, you just caught me off guard. What are you doing here? I wanted to try and help. You know, be a bit more involved in this. Sorry I did sort of, I guess, ghost you. Uh, thanks. Um, Not really the best time. Currently everyone else walking aboard. Currently, Mina trying to express to Kendo. Maybe save that a bit for later. It's a bit complicated right now, but they might have just picked up, let's just say, a call to reinforcements. They need to head to the plumber orbital station. And Kendo turns back to Deku, a little confused. Currently, them getting into the ship as it's beginning to take off. Kai trying to express a few things. Currently, the ship getting up into the air. That, when they approach the station, it's going to be a bit strange. They'd have to dock, and that does come with its own challenges. Her turning, asking Deku exactly if he has a plan, because she hasn't been to the station in a while. Last time she was there, it was still a bit of a skeleton crew. And him? I was there for some time before. We both been there. me and Mina. The plumbers are still getting a few things up and active and getting some more people and groups on Earth. But then again, at the same time, it's also concerning. We don't know what we're going to be approaching. So what's the plan? I mean, hang on. Deku typing a few things in. Currently, him sitting at the console and pulling up the station. Him looking at the design and beginning to zoom in, telling her, he's got a few things here. Okay. There is an access hatch. It does have a tunnel and it does lead to maintenance. The area... No, that's a bit more on the mid-deck. Okay. Find anything? Give me a second. Okay. We don't know if there's anyone aboard, but the moment we try and land, we'll automatically be flagged as a plumber vessel. So, if there is anyone aboard, they'd be aware of our presence. But if we land on the side, go through the access or maintenance shaft, it'll be a lot easier. Okay, I got that. Okay, I can land. Just pull the coordinates on my screen. Deku bring his hand down, pressing a button as they're sent over. And currently, they're actually just Kai, who does to fly the ship into space. Them beginning to approach the station. Right now, Kai flying in, making sure that she has her radio communications open in case anyone knows they're coming. But right now, there's nothing. And this does have her a little bit more concerned. They've always been wary of heading into space. And right now, this tells them one thing. They would never have been flagged. The aliens are coordinated, but they don't know how to use human tech. And this is a good advantage right now. Them beginning their arrival. Currently their ship going to land on the side of the station. And everyone, they do get suited up. Currently them heading off the vessel. And Mina is walking off. Her looking up towards Earth. Thinking about a few things and remembering a lot. The first time she saw this sight. The first time she witnessed this. It was right after her grandpa died. Mark died. It feels long ago. And currently she's at turn. Her seeing Kendo staring up at the blue marble. And Deku does come to walk up, turning and telling her, yeah, it's certainly something, huh? It's incredible. It's beautiful. I know. It's you never get used to it, honestly. Her bring her hand out, trying to grab Deku's hand. And Deku, he was also turn. Him noticing this, as he would tell Kendo, listen, they've gotta get inside. Their suits, they're not really made for long-term spacewalks. They don't have enough oxygen. They had to spread it out. Currently, him gonna turn, walking over to Kai, who does gonna wave them over to this maintenance panel. Her bring her hand down and grabbing onto the hatch, beginning to turn it as Bakugo is there to help her. And the two do go to open it up. Currently them hearing, or not hearing, them going to see that the air pressure, it does go to be pulled out into space. And the hatch does it open up. All of them heading inside. Single file. Before there actually is Bakugo, who we're going to pull this thing closed behind him and begin to close it up. Them climbing their way through the area. and finding where they can slip directly into an airlock, them having the room pressurized, and then go to fill with an atmosphere. Before things, they do begin even back out. And gravity controls, they are online. Currently them landing on the ground. And some of them, they're definitely happy to be back in an atmosphere. Currently them beginning to take their suits off. And keep them in this room. Okay, so they've got a lot to do here. Deku makes his way over to the room. Now, Deku, he does a turn. Him looking at some of the data on screen. Before he does, gonna log in using his grandfather's plumber ID. Now, Deku enters the information. Him going to bring his hand up and set his badge down directly on the console before typing a few more things in and looking at the information. Okay, let's see. What are you doing? Guy, I'm looking at how things have been, how resources have been allocated. It should tell us a bit. But at the same time, that's not right. The oxygen hasn't been recycled. Also, inventory, it hasn't updated in months. What does that mean? Deku turning, talking about how it means that, no, the inventory on a skeleton crew could last a few months, but not that long. There still would be requests, things submitted that they would need. The station would need repairs, so let's look at the repair logs. Deku pulling them up, and finding that the last repair on the station was over a year ago. And that's not good. Okay, so oxygen has not been recycling, but there's still a breathable atmosphere here. I mean, okay, that is harder to dispute. The station's large, so maybe it's only cycling in certain areas. But no, that doesn't make sense. The station has enough power to... The station's empty. Deku realizing that, and he does get a little bit less off guard. Though, he does have a strange feeling in his gut. Okay, so the station's empty. But why is it still inoperable? They would have put someone here, right? Or did they never think they'd come to the station? Okay, let's look at the last plumber entries. Okay, last ship was... Deku looking at some information and seeing that the last ship that came here was over 9 months ago. And that, it was simple. Currently him pulling up some information, seeing a log detailing how the orbital station, it currently had a leak, and they needed the plumbers aboard to come back down to Earth so they could properly manage it. See what they can do. Get a technician up there and repair it, along with many others who would be up to the task. It's a very big, let's just say, undertaking. And fact of the matter is, one of the technicians are immune to the radiation the station would leak. So he's the only one up there who could operate safely, without the fear of death. And Deku, he does read this information, but at the same time, he's getting a bit more confused. So, they faked a leak. Shit. Okay, this is all bad. Currently Kendo walking over to a window. Her seeing a few things and looking outside. Still staring down at the earth. And it's hard to look away from. Currently the group beginning to make their way through the station. And right now, they do try to get things set up. However, we do actually have back down on Earth, where they have been monitoring activity at the station. And right now, they have records of new entries, along with somebody accessing information aboard. So yeah, life signs have also been detected. 5. And this? Oh boy. Fish in a barrel. That currently on the commander's mind. It going to bring up its hand and make one simple decision. Pressing a button as right now the weapon points towards the sky. And it send out a massive blast firing at the station. And there actually is Deku in the group, who are still aboard. Currently, Deku, walking in the hallway as the ground is a shake. And the station does begin to blare out emergency warnings. And right now, Deku, he does feel the ground rumble beneath him. Currently, him turning and looking around, running over and seeing a massive beam that is coming up. It slicing through the station as right now Deku feels a lot more panic, and then alarm, hearing that oxygen and life support controls are turned off. Before there's another massive explosion, the station losing gravity and informing the plumbers aboard that gravity controls have been disabled, and that currently they need to make their way to the nearest escape pods. And Izuku, he would turn his head, looking out the window as he is trying to keep a bit more of his balance. Currently, Mina bringing up her hands and trying to throw out a connection towards Kai. Her bringing her hand out and tossing one out towards Kendo. And Kendo would turn, throwing out her hand and grabbing Kai. Before, as a wrap around her like a belt, and then it would shoot out from Kai towards Bakugo. The two going to be pulled together as Bakugo does a slam donkey into Kai. Kai telling Bakugo that, if they were going to get so close, he should at least buy her dinner first. Also, move his hand. My bad. Listen, I can't really move too much. Him trying to bring his hands up. Currently grabbing the ceiling and trying to turn to heavy metal. And Kai does his own comment on it. They need to get back to her ship. And right now, their actions with everybody, they're pulled together. Kendo pulling Izuku in, along with Mina. And Mina, she is trying to think of a few things. Okay, they need to get motion. They need to do a lot. Currently a beam shooting back out and directly up into space. It smashing the station and beginning to cut it apart. And the station does go to let out another emergency warning. Orbital control stabilizers malfunctioning. Orbital descent beginning. And this doesn't sound too good. And Deku, he's trying to think. The glass beginning to break in front of him. Okay. Now would be a good time for an alien. Deku bring his hand down, grabbing the Omnitrix and trying to think. And everyone, they're starting to yell about what to do. Kai wants to get to her ship. If they get to it, they can get the hell out of here. But Deku is trying to think. The blast could have knocked debris directly into her ship. It could have done a lot. Hell, her ship could have been annihilated by that attack. And currently, the beam, it does slice to the top of the ship. It slicing directly into the station and cutting it in two. The thing being to malfunction and blare out more alarms. And Izuku, he does have an idea. Him turning to everybody and right now turning into an alien. As the station is pulled down by the gravity of Earth. And people do begin to look up to see what's happening. And the aliens, they do go to look at their own crafty work. And there currently is Ken, who, he was driving his RV down the road. He got some information. And currently, he does a look up to see the station falling from the orbit. Him a lot more concerned by what that might be. Before it does clear his mind exactly why that might have happened. Him turning and going to grab his badge. And we do actually have the group. As the debris is falling towards the earth, along with another item. Nay, another creature. Currently cannonbolt flying down fast. Him beginning to burn up as it's a smashing onto a piece of debris and bounce off of it. Him going to fly towards the piece as it's a smashing into that. Him going to be bounced around by many pieces. Before he eventually does get to land smashing down in the woods, creating a massive impact as right now the woods do begin to somewhat catch fire. And the actions of the ball, it does be somewhat smolder. It still steaming as it doesn't uncoil. Deku laying there for a second, as everyone, they do try to walk this off. And their actions then Deku, who immediately does transform back into a human. And they are lucky to be alive. Them looking around as Bakugo does get a turn. Him looking as right now a piece of debris does a smash down. Him yelling for all of them to get clear. And currently their action is Mina, who had a turn. Her and Kendo grabbing Izuku and pulling him to his feet. Bakugo going to bring his hand up and turn into metal again. As right now, they do try to make their way clear of the area. And Izuku, yeah, he's not doing very good. Now, this is a problem. The D aliens set a trap for them, but they got out alive. Luckily. And currently, there actually is Bakugo, who he does try to call in. Currently, Ken bringing his hand down and pressing onto his badge. Him still driving, asking if that was them that he just saw come down. Funny story about that, Mr. Midoriya. Ken. Yeah. Ken. We were aboard. Is everyone alright? Yeah, we're all fine. Though, we need a bit of a pickup. Ken gonna turn, pressing the button and seeing their location. And they're... Oh, wow. I'll be there soon. Currently, him going to spin the RV around and going to press a button. Currently, the engine going to somewhat rev up a bit more. And the man, he does it a drive down the highway. Currently, him at alarming speeds. Now, he will go to arrive later. And when the RV does it a roll up, there is where they are all brought aboard. And Deku, he is laid down in the bed and given something for the pain. Along with Ken already giving Izuku a bag of peas since he heard about his fall. And there actually is Kendo, who does go to sit there next to Izuku asking if he's going to be okay. And Mina, she does it to look up, telling Kendo that right now he needs to rest. Also, maybe a nap? Right, but I'm just sorry. This has all been a little crazy. How did... We're going to turn, asking Mina how Deku knew he could survive the impact. How he knew that Cannonbolt would work. He didn't. Kendo a lot more alarmed. Before turning back to Deku, right now him with an ice pack, or the bag of peas, on his back. Him laying on it, as Ken tells them. Right. Listen, a lot's going on. Him turning, looking at Kai and Bakugo, who are chatting about one thing. Kai's grandfather is going to kill her. That ship was destroyed. Then again, the alternative, yeah, maybe she can rationalize things with the old man. Currently, Ken telling them. He has good news and bad news. What do they want first? And Deku, he gets a turn. him feeling some pain in his neck as Ken tells him. The good news is, whenever he went to HQ, he found some information. He knows when and where the invasion is going to begin. And everyone, they do fall silent, as the man does get a turn, currently hearing the room quiet, before expressing. That's the good news. The bad news, it's in 3 days. And everyone, they're a lot more alarmed to hear about this. Since 3 days. That's not enough time. And the man will look around, seeing the expression on everyone's face, before telling them. They know when and where. So, they need to try and do what they can to prepare. He's already been calling David and Melissa and letting them know. They've got their ship, and they are going to be ready. Hell. He's going to go try and see what he can do, maybe in the US. He's going to try and get some stuff active. At least do what he can there. It's been crazy, but they're trying to solve a lot of problems right now. So, when they can, they need Izuku to call someone, find out more information. And Izuku, he doesn't understand. Currently, him going to fall unconscious, as Kendo is concerned about Izuku, since his life, if it's always this crazy, no, she doesn't. Maybe. Yeah, they'll need to have a talk. They'll definitely have to talk. That in mind. With that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.